Would you like to get more leads, generate more revenue, do it quickly, and also borrow the attention from other people's audiences? I'll show you how in this video. So my name is Kevin Sanderson. I have been in the event world since, well, Clinton was president. In one way, shape, or form, I've been in the event world, but I've been more in the digital, virtual event world for, in some ways, depends on how you really look at it, maybe 5 to 10 years, 5 or so years doing very specific virtual summits and webinar and live stream strategies. And then you could go back farther than that, doing training and recruiting and things of that nature in other industries, but kind of using it and not realizing it was the strategies I was using at the time. So I've gotten to learn quite a bit of what works. And so virtual summits for me have generated in basically just ticket sales, upsells that we sell at the event, and sponsorships, about $500,000. And the nice thing about them with virtual summits is that they are something where you can get access to other people's audiences. You can put them up fairly easily and quickly compared to like if you were having a virtual event. And it kind of mimics the virtual event from the standpoint of, or the in-person event, I should say, because the virtual event has a defined time period. And so just like an in-person event has a defined time period, anytime you have scarcity of time, that is on your side. And you get a lot of people to sign up, especially at the last minute, because nobody wants to miss out on a good deal or a good opportunity. And so events tend to help that way. So basically a virtual summit is if you were to host an event, well, let's say you have, I tend to find the magic spot is 15 to maybe 25 speakers. Anything more than that, you're probably just going to burn yourself out, where you pre-record most of it ahead of time. And then, you know, if you have 3-day summit and you have, let's say 21 speakers each day, you put out 7 sessions and let people kind of just watch it on their own time when it works for them. And that tends to work pretty well. And if you make it easy for your speakers to promote, oftentimes they'll promote to their audiences. And if you pick the right speakers, you'll have compelling content that you don't have to create all the content for. And you'll be able to collect leads of people who might be good for your audience. And that could be super exciting. And, you know, if you make it compelling, the speakers want to promote it to their audiences, that's going to help you to bring more leads for your offers, build your list, build your credibility, build your authority for whatever it is. If you have a service or a course or coaching program or something like that, which, or if you have an agency or something like that. So if you're looking to drive leads on the internet, it can be one of the best ways to do it and grow your authority fast. And, you know, I tend to find that with online, attention is really hard to get, and a good attention. Like, yeah, maybe you can put up a TikTok and maybe you'll go viral. I tend to find anyone I know who's gotten viral traffic on like TikTok or Reels, oftentimes will say it was a lot of the wrong people. Like, it didn't actually help them the way they thought it would. They were hopeful, but it didn't quite work the way they thought it would. So things to keep in mind: you could have an event with much smaller numbers than you might get like on a video on TikTok or Reels or something like that, but it's not going to be the right people compared to on Reels or TikTok, compared to if you have a smaller audience of hundreds or maybe thousands in a virtual event. Those are really good quality people that are interested in whatever your topic is. And there's ways to do that. And if you're interested in learning more about how to put on some of your own virtual events, down below I'll have a link, or you can comment events, just comment events, EVENTS, and I will send you a free guide on putting together virtual events that I have found works really well, and has generated over $1 million in ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, for an agency that I work for, and $500,000 in event revenue for just the events, like I was mentioning before. For the events, it's multiple events, to be crystal clear. And then also put on some other type of events, webinar type events, which I'll get into here in a moment, what I think is the right way to do them. And, you know, those together have put on, you know, $500,000 in sales for the actual virtual summits themselves, about $1 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue for services. And then that we even know of, because people oftentimes will go looking for you outside of trackable links that you want them to click on. So sometimes you get people to sign up for your services and they came through your events and it wasn't what you were originally hoping that they would go through so that you could track them. So anywho, kind of in the woods here. Yes, so it can be a great way to build a lot of revenue. Oh, and also some other virtual products that we've sold off of the back, which is also in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, off of virtual events like webinars. So virtual summit, I kind of described a little bit. You basically, oh, what was that? Oh, big old lizard. Sorry, it startled me for a second. The virtual summits are a great way to, you know, build that authority, make some strategic partnerships, but it's all about finding the right people. So who has the audience you're looking for, who has the content you're looking for, and what does your audience want? And if you kind of put all those together, you'll generally find the right audience, who has those audiences, and who has content and a message that the audience wants to hear, which helps ticket sales and helps people also have goodwill. Because if they're just attracted because like, oh, this sounds great, and then they go and it was all just fluff, then it didn't really do you much good. So just something to keep in mind. So the other type of event that I recommend you do would be webinars. And so webinars are kind of like if you did a live stream, maybe like if you had a YouTube channel or Facebook or LinkedIn, you do a live. Those can be great, but when they're publicly available, it's kind of not as engaged of traffic, which oftentimes there is very engaged traffic, people who will come to your live streams, and oftentimes you get people that come over and over again. But when they raise their hand and they have to register to attend, let's say, a webinar, and the webinar is, you know, let's say in a private room where they have to, you know, click on a link, and it's not just like broadcasting out to a public channel like your, you know, social media. It feels more exclusive, and so people feel more like they're part of something, and they made more of a conscious decision to be there, as opposed to just, you know, they saw it on their notifications or their recommendations on YouTube or their stream on LinkedIn, their newsfeed on LinkedIn, and then just said, never mind, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Whereas generally, if there's a webinar and they have to click on something, they're going to go to it. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't webinar just basically just a big sales pitch? It has that connotation. I don't like to use the word webinar, to be honest with you, with advertising. Now, I don't want to false advertise, but you can use multiple words to describe the same thing. And so I like to use the word masterclass, or, you know, class, something like that. But masterclass always, I think, makes it, the perception is more of like, oh, I'm going to learn something that's important. And so what are the things your target market wants to learn about? And so in the Amazon space, we found it's a lot of times it's pay-per-click advertising, and it's something around getting traffic without paying for ads. And so we might position that as SEO, search engine optimization on Amazon, also listing optimization, things of that nature. How you get more sales without paying for ads. And then how, for ads related content, how you can get more sales with ads without wasting money on your ads. And that's usually what people want. And you teach them ways to do that. And it doesn't have to be this like structured presentation. Generally speaking, I find with any sort of digital event, people like to see something on the screen. So it never wants to just be talking head, interview based. Generally, it's good like if you're demoing something and not like, hey, here's why our software tool is so great. Nobody wants to watch that. It might be, hey, here's how you identify more keywords to target on Google Ads or something like that. And then you maybe demonstrate using your tool or using your frameworks, using your systems. And then from there, you can invite people to book a call or whatever, or sign up, book a demo, where it is more of a sales call. Those tend to work pretty well. Now, one of the things I have found works, and this is counterintuitive, but with webinars or masterclasses, we might, instead of saying, hey, what you're going to do is wait until all the way to the end and then ask them to book a call, we just ask them to book a call on the confirmation page. That actually does fairly well. Now, you get a decent number of people that no-show with that or aren't the right people, which you can always do an application if you wanted to, or if you just want to keep your, if you have a sales team and you want to keep them busy, just have on the thank you page, you know, hey, book a call. We can tell you more about X, Y, and Z, whatever the class, the master class is about, the webinar. You know, just position it that, hey, we can take a look at your ads account. We can take a look at whatever it is you're positioning, you're teaching them about. And if you have services about that, you know, position that the call would be about that. You know, it could be a strategy call, a demo, whatever. Even though you haven't yet provided the value, because it's on the confirmation page right after they registered, it converts really well. And oftentimes you'd be amazed how many people will become a client. So that might sound kind of counterintuitive. And with that, part of it is because people, you know, they're most engaged with whatever it is you're asking them to do because they just took action on something simple like registering. Well, I registered, so I might as well sign up for this free call. Why not? Then from there, they're excited about this call they've booked. And now you're going to teach them at the webinar about whatever topic it is. So you're proving your authority either before the call or after the call, depending on when they book the call versus when you have the event and when the call is booked for. So, you know, on that sequence, you have the ability to showcase your knowledge, your company's knowledge, and that oftentimes will get people over the hump. So like, okay, I'm interested. They seem like they know what they're doing. I talked to the salesperson. They seem really interesting. They know what they're doing. But what about the rest of the company? Now you are demoing, or maybe you are the salesperson. But either way, you're showcasing your knowledge and expertise, and that could be really beneficial. So this is why I think events are really good. And then you could also do webinars, which are almost kind of like mini virtual summits, where maybe you invite 2-3 people. And this is a little bit of a gray area, but people do this all the time, and I've seen it work, where they might share the list. So I wouldn't do everyone shares the list on a virtual summit. That can be overwhelming for attendees if they're getting emails from all these people. But depending on where you are, and of course the laws involved, you know, yada, yada, yada. But at least in the US, you generally can get away with, basically, if you have 3 people that have similar list sizes, don't be afraid to ask people you think might have a slightly larger list than you. Worst thing they're going to do is say no. And say, hey, I'm doing this live masterclass on this date. And you can just basically, you know, let them showcase their expertise. You provide your input on what they said. Feel free to disagree. People like that kind of tension, and people watching. And from there, you know, now you can grow your list that way. So, if you have a list, or if you have a event you're doing and you are the only one on it, or your company is the only one on it, then it's your own list, but you're warming up your list. So events, whether people are already on your list, which if they come to one event, chances are they're going to come to another event in the future, I have found. So events are a great way to nurture that audience, engage them, and get them to do the things that you want them to do, whether it be, sign up for a meeting, become a client, buy your course, buy your product, sign up for your program, whatever it is. Events are a great way to get people to spend more time with you, in quality time where they're choosing to spend that time with you. And so that's today's lesson. If you'd like to learn more about hosting some of your own events, I've got a free guide. Just comment down below, events, EVENTS. And with that, take care.